Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk about an anniversary and what the entire world, and specifically the United States, can learn from the events that happened 75 years ago. Given that it is the 75th anniversary, I would imagine that a whole lot of people are going to be talking about this subject. I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of discussion about Nuremberg today. And I think, as is usually the case, people are going to focus on the aspect of justice. Which, yeah, that's worth discussing, obviously. But there's two other things that occurred at Nuremberg that, because of the gravity of the situation, I think they often get overlooked. There's two other big points. The first is that it was kind of the first time that the international community came together and said, you know what, this is too much. This is too far. You can't do this. A nation state cannot do this to the people in its geographic area. This is too much. This is over the line. And it's interesting because, that's a cool thing to happen, a loud proclamation that this is too much. But the countries that did it, the Soviet Union, UK, France, the US, is what happened in Germany really that dissimilar from what happened in the colonies of the UK or France? I'm not talking about how systematic it was or the scale. I'm talking about the intent. Was it really that different than what the US did to the natives or was doing to black folk in the South, or really any minority group that came to this country? The point being, all governments use force against their own people. But there was a line drawn 75 years ago that said this is too much. This is too far. The only thing that really separates any organization from a government is the perception of the legitimate use of force. That's really it. That's the difference between a homeowners association and a city. But there was a line drawn. My question is, after 75 years, is that still where the line is? Or have we, as a society, as a world, moved forward? Has that line progressed as it should? Are there things that are an affront to all of humanity today that weren't in 1945? Have we progressed? Have we evolved? I think that when we think about this, we should probably try to define exactly how much force is allowable. How much force can a government use against its own people? How horrible is a government allowed to be to the people within its geographic area? I think we need to come up with an answer to that for today. I would hope that it's moved since 1945. Now, the other point that I think is incredibly relevant to the United States is, yes, you had the trials, justice, all of that. But it also established a baseline of facts. See, there were things that occurred in the preceding years that a lot of people in Germany didn't want to address. They didn't want to confront that. Who would want to? Can you blame them? But this trial put it out there. This is the chain of events as we know it. This is the baseline of facts as we know it. Shoved it in their face. made them confront it, made them look at what was done in their name. And when they had to confront it, they had to address it. And once they addressed it, they could move forward. There is a whole lot of talk in the U.S. right now about reuniting the country, reconciliation. Yeah, it should happen, absolutely. But we need a baseline of facts, because there may be some things done in the preceding years, some things done in our name, that we need to confront, that we need to address, that we need to look at and say, are we okay with this being part of our national character? And that's where that other question comes in. Because there were some things done over the last few years that to me are an affront. And I think we need to address them. Now, I'm not suggesting we have Nuremberg-style trials. In fact, in the U.S., we can't. But a real accounting, nothing swept under the rug, all of the allegations looked into and answered. We have to know what happened in order to move forward. We have to have a baseline of facts. We can say, this is what happened. Now what are we going to do about it? How do we move forward? Now, I am certain that today, everybody all over the world, anybody that has any sense of decency, is going to cry out, never again, as they should. Just remember that we don't have to wait for things to get that bad. If you want never again, we should move that line and keep moving it to make sure that it's an affront to all of humanity before it ever even gets close to what occurred then. Then, not only are we moving the country forward, we're moving everybody forward. And if we want to reclaim our position as a world leader, as a nation with some form of moral authority, it's a pretty good step in that direction. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.